Honestly, I really hate my household. That's not so good here. But unlike me, I'm not going to use that as an excuse to why I can't grind. What is up, YouTube? So I just got back from my staff's party, though my work's party, if that makes sense. I had a party with my work place. Manager hosted a party because, we've been performing really well and it was really good. I'll probably edit some videos in at the party. It was actually really fun. But anyway, that doesn't matter. I wanted to talk really quickly before I go to bed because it's 12:36. You're probably wondering, why am I up so late? I shouldn't be up this late, but I love grinding. I love doing these things that I'm passionate about. And another thing is I felt very aligned to make this video. So I'll shut up about that. Here's the point of the video I wanted to talk about. The question of why your lowest point might be your greatest gift. Now, I'm a small channel. I don't expect you to know anything about me, but one of the things that I go by is in all areas of my life is this quote that I've made for myself. It goes by minor setbacks, major comebacks. Yeah, I know, it sounds cringe saying it out loud, it sounds stupid, but hear me out as I say this. Throughout my life, I've had a lot of things that have set me back. I've always been the person who has tried very hard in a lot of things they do, but I could never get the outcome I want. And when I would always push harder because I was so naive. I really couldn't understand the mistakes I was doing or not. I didn't have a good support system in place. And when you have someone like me, or if you're so ambitious but you just don't have the support and you don't really understand the direction you're going, you think if you just give more into the universe, you'll get more. And yes, that's true, but it's not true as in it's that simple. It requires focused effort and structured effort. And that wasn't what I was doing. I was just giving blind effort. And so what happened, got injured in the gym. This semester, actually, I'll probably use that as an example. I basically failed my first semester. Another low point for me, a really low point, because my dream of being a physiotherapist was at stake. And yeah, I was at a low point, and I remember I made a video talking about how much that affected me, how personally I took it, and how bad it made me feel. And in that moment, I realized that it was a gift. Not in that moment, sorry, but in the process of doing it. Because in the process of doing it, the goal was to get into physiotherapy, and I'm waiting for my acceptance letter by 5th of December. I'm really trusting in God. I really have faith that it's going to happen. Yeah, there's some doubts here and there, but I know the effort I put in. But that doesn't matter right now. In this process of studying my ass off, pulling all-nighters in my library, I never missed. I had perfect attendance throughout the whole semester with being sleep deprived, juggling work, a little bit of content here and there, studying my fucking ass off, not sleeping, just absolutely grinding my ass off. I went from a semester failing to basically me getting med school level grades. That is honestly monumental in my opinion, and I want to make a full testimony video about it later. But the point I'm getting at here, along this process of me being from my lowest point, climbing to be higher, throughout that middle journey, I have adopted traits I personally don't think I would have gotten if everything went smoothly. I would have never had this strong sense of discipline. I'm recording this video at fucking 1 o'clock basically. If it were me 3 months ago, I would say, nah, screw this, call it a night, and that would be that. I wouldn't have this level of confidence. I wouldn't be able to speak in a way that's so clearly, because before when I used to record videos, I used to care so much of what I say and how I came across. I don't really care about that anymore. Those are just some brief traits, but it changed. It honestly, looking back on it, it is something so sacred to me that I will never forget, because it was like a fucking movie. And I will get into more detail about it, but that's the whole point of this video. Stop viewing pain and suffering and negative things and setbacks as a bad thing. These negative feelings you feel inside of you aren't bad. all they are is just warning signals to tell you what you're doing or what's going on in your life doesn't align with who you really are, and it wants you to change. That should be a very blessing and a gift, because if you just listen to your intuition, you listen to what your spirit or God or whatever you want to believe is trying to tell you deep down, imagine how better your life will be. Of course, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying, it's going to be a simple route. Why the fuck would you expect that? It's not supposed to be. But it's just trying to tell you the discontentment you're feeling is that something must change, and when it does, it is going to be better. It's just a warning. And a lot of people mistaken that warning as a bad thing. So a lot of people, what do? They try to cope. They project their problems onto other people, which makes them insecure. They chase substances that provide them temporary relief and short-term distraction, but that doesn't work. All it does is destroy your life and make everything 10 times worse. A lot of people aren't brave enough to confront their reality. And please don't be that person, because it's not supposed to be scary. Just be brave enough to understand that you're being blessed. If we felt happy all the time, if we felt good all the time, we would just take it for granted. You genuinely need to experience hardship in your life, because if you don't, you'll never cherish the good moments, and your life will be very bland, and you won't really have anything to look back on and really show the life and the person you're shaping. I know you think it's shit right now. I can relate to that, but I can 9.5 out of 10 times guarantee you always come out of that side 10 times better. And that is a promise. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I think this is a pretty good video I got in, especially due to time constraints and, the inconveniences here and there, but it's still a rep. I'm still getting better at this content stuff, and I know in the future there will be better videos like this, but I really hope you could relate to that. Check out these videos from my staff's party. I'll replay them again. Awesome stuff. But yeah, Addy soldier. I'll see you in the next one.